Hey guys, so in a world full of pistol compensators, you can get so many different types, from ones that cost next to nothing on eBay all the way up to the big name brands that cost a few $100s. One name stands out above all, and you guys constantly remind me that I haven't done a review on one yet. So today we are going to check out the Radian Ramjet and Afterburner. This is a really cool option, and it is about triple the price of all the comps that I'm trying it out against today. So we are going to find out if it is worth triple the price or if it's just something to brag about on your gun. Guys, stay tuned and we're going to find out together. Hey heathens, it's Gadidi, and this week we are going to look at yet another compensator. But to be a little different, everyone has been saying in the comment sections of all my other compensator videos that I should be reviewing the Radian Ramjet. Well, they're kind of expensive. They are pretty much the price of a firearm by themselves. But my buddy had one and we were able to borrow it for today to check it out, and we're going to compare it to a couple budget-friendly options. But first, let's get into what the Ramjet really is. So, of course, it is a pistol compensator, of course. It goes on multiple different types of pistols, but this one specifically is on a Glock 45. But what it is the Ramjet and Afterburner are a combo set that you buy. It is a barrel with a compensator right there. So the compensator attaches to this barrel using a little lock Torx bit there, Torx screw, and it locks it into place. And these things are supposed to be some of the most reliable and most effective compensators on the market. And for their price range, they really should be. These things cost right around $400, which puts you right around the price of a whole new gun. I mean, you can get the Turkish knockoff compensated guns for under 400 bucks. So this thing better perform better than everything I'm going to compare it to today. But today we are going to shoot this guy a little bit, see how she feels, and then we're going to drop it into a little competition against some budget-friendly options and just a standard Glock slide, and see if it really reduces that recoil a lot or if it's just gimmick. We'll find out. All right, so we got this guy loaded up with a full mag of 115 grain 9mm, and I say that because on their website they advertise that it works best with 124 grain or higher, but in my area all the gun shops are closed on Sundays and Mondays, and unfortunately today is Monday, so I couldn't go out and get more ammunition for this video, and I only have this gun for today. So we're going to go ahead and try it with 115 grain. Hopefully it runs just fine, but if it doesn't cycle properly, it's probably because I'm running too light of ammunition. But before we get into that, if you guys didn't watch my last video, I hiked up to that mountain up there, and we went up there and saw what was up there, really, and we did it in full kit. So if you guys haven't seen that video yet, go ahead and watch that video after this. There will be a link right here if you guys are interested. And without further ado, let's go ahead and shoot this bad boy. All right, so first shots with the Radian Ramjet. I have not shot this guy yet, so we're gonna find out how flat this keeps this gun. Okay, this is actually pretty nice. It keeps it pretty. As you can tell, it is a very flat shooting gun. Let's go ahead and get real close so you guys can see the recoil. And that is one-handed. So this gun is actually, this Ramjet does keep it pretty flat, but is it going to hold up against the other competition today? But let's go ahead and finish off this mag, and then we are going to try against a standard Glock slide and see if it really changes that much. All right, so today we are running this on the Glock 45, the Ramjet, and the closest I have to it is a Glock 19. So what we're going to do to keep this as fair as possible is we're just going to swap the slides on this frame, so that way we can keep it as fair as possible when it comes to recoil management, because a Glock 19 will have more recoil than a Glock 17 frame. So we're going to try to keep this as fair as possible. Let's go ahead. You guys already saw that how it shoots with the Ramjet. Let's go ahead and swap out the slides and see how it shoots with the Glock 19 slide. All right, so we got to fit it up with our Glock 19. We're going to go ahead and put some rounds through it, see how she feels, and see if it's a noticeable recoil difference compared to that Ramjet. There's definitely a recoil difference, you can tell. Let's go ahead and get it up close so you can see. There's definitely a recoil impulse difference, but is it dramatic enough to beat out the compensators that I have today? Let's go ahead and switch over to a compensated pistol and see if the Ramjet holds up to that though. Let's go ahead and clear the gun and let's go ahead and switch it up. All right, so before we get too far in the weeds with comparing it to different types of compensators, I actually do have a somewhat scientific test here. We actually have some lines that we drew on this about 1 inch apart all the way up, and we're going to compare each of them to this this chart just to see how much the muzzle rises. We're going to do it one-handed and we're going to do it two-handed to get a good idea. Hopefully you guys can see all those lines just fine. Let's go ahead and start with the standard Glock slide. We're going to try to keep it we're going to try to keep it as close to the bottom line as possible to get a good idea of the actual muzzle rise. So this is two-handed with the Glock. And this is one-handed. All right, now we're going to switch it up to the Afterburner and see if there's a different, a noticeable difference in muzzle rise. All right, now we got the Radian Afterburner and Ramjet. I can tell you just from feel, there's almost no muzzle rise. One-handed, it feels like it's a lot less than the Glock standard. So there was a noticeable difference between the Ramjet and a standard slide with no compensator whatsoever. This is a good comp, but is it worth triple the price of the Strike Industries mass comp? We're gonna go ahead and compare them real quick and see if they do differences in recoil management. Now, one thing to point out, this is a Glock 17, while this is a Glock 45. So there is a little bit longer barrel and a lot more mass on the front end here. So that will affect the muzzle rise, but this thing is a far cheaper than this guy. So let's go ahead and shoot some at this target and see what the difference is. We're gonna start with the Strike Industries mass comp. As you can see, there is very little recoil to this guy. Let's go ahead and bring it right up close here so you guys can see. Let's go ahead and compare that to the Radian Ramjet. Woo! Honestly, I think the Radian Ramjet is a better compensator, even though the strike is cheaper and it's only a Glock 17. You would think that it would control that muzzle a little bit better, but in the hand, honestly, I feel like the Radian actually might have won this. I mean, not really surprising for those who are fans of the Ramjet, but I was expecting a little closer, tell you the truth. But let's go ahead and finish off these rounds and we'll switch it off to the next gun. Honestly, they're pretty close to the same, but this is on a Glock 17. All right, so the last comp I have to compare it to today is the quad comp from Strike Industries. This is a super budget friendly option for you. These things are well under $100 and they do a decent job of compensating, but is it really a compensator when you compare it to something like the Radian Ramjet? We're gonna find out today. We are running it on a Palmetto Dagger, so it's not the best comparison. It would be better if I had it on a Glock, but this is on my budget queen. So we are gonna run it the way we got it today. These are both Glock 17 grip lengths. The 45 and the full-size dagger are both the same pretty much all the way around. Slide length, barrel length, and grip length. So it is pretty comparable, but is it as comparable as a Glock to a Glock? Probably not, but that's okay. We're gonna go ahead and shoot what we got and go from there. All right, so first up, we are going to shoot the quad comp. This is a micro comp. It's mainly designed for like Glock 43 Axis, things like that, smaller framed guns, but I have it on the dagger because this is the budget queen. So all the parts on this are super cheap and inexpensive. Okay, all right, let's compare that to the Radian. All right, let's go ahead and shoot them up close. Here's the Radian. And here's the quad comp. Okay, so obviously there's not much of a comparison. I mean, at the end of the day, I would say that the Radian Ramjet is far superior than the quad comp, but the quad comp really wasn't doing that. It was trying to build a comp for cheap, and I think they succeeded in that. Let's go ahead and dump these rounds, and then we'll take it up top with my first round's opinion. All right, so in feel, there is a difference, but visually, is there? Let's find out. All right, so I originally had planned to shoot this against an agency comp, but my agency comp set screw got stripped somehow. So unfortunately, I was not able to actually do a good comparison to this to a good quality compensator. I apologize, guys. It ends up happening sometimes. Sometimes you're a subject to your materials. And unfortunately, that is a product flaw of the agency arms. The set screws do get stripped once in a while, and then it is a pain in the neck to get them out of there. But today, what I compared it to, is this worth twice, 3 times the price of some of those comps that I had today? Well, honestly, this thing is extremely flat shooting. I think if you are going to conceal carry a compensated gun, this is probably better than any of the options I had today. It's extremely reliable, it's very compact, and honestly, it does look good too. So if you were going to put it on like a Glock 43X or a SIG P365, or even your carry Glock 19, sure, why not? If you're just getting a compensator for fun at the range, is $400 really worth it? Probably not. It didn't do a whole heck of a lot different than the mass comp did. It was significant enough to tell a difference, but not enough to where I would say buy this over the strike if you're just using it for the range and having fun. But that is my opinion. This is a really cool option. It is a very neat system here, and a lot of people swear by them. So I don't see any problem using this for your concealed carry piece or your daily carry. For a fun range toy, if you have the money to spend, if $400 really isn't that much for you, sure, why not? But if you're like me and you're balling on a budget, you're probably going to be looking more for like that Strike Industries comp or something lesser expensive. Maybe not the Strike Industries, because that thing is gaudy, it is huge. But nonetheless, it's just a really cool option for you, and it is a cool system altogether. Now, this is a compensated system. You can't buy the comp without the barrel. It won't work. Yeah, they do come together. It is a $400 package. So that being said, just remember, it is a $400 package with the Afterburner and the Ramjet. This is a really cool option and definitely something cool to check out. If you ever get a chance, check out the Radian Ramjet and Afterburner. This is a really cool setup. Definitely something cool to check out.
I got a God complex. Haters love to hate, but I never feel pressed. Got a lot on my plate, but I never get stressed. I'll take all the pressure like I'm acing this test. And like a damn Freemason, I'll run this nation. They call me a